This guy was literally taking Tren and competing in the IPF, a supposedly natural federation. He competed at multiple IPF World Championships, winning multiple medals, and yet it took them so long to catch him, despite him looking like he was on Tren. This is so embarrassing for the IPF. Mohammed Abdullah Mohammed from Libya just got caught for taking multiple different steroids. I don't know much about steroids, but I do know Trenbolone or Tren. I know that it's one of the most powerful drugs, at least that's the reputation. And this guy was competing at IPF Worlds on Tren. In 2022, he came 4th at the World Championships. In 2023, he came 3rd at the World Championships. So he was taking Tren and he took medals away from people. And in 2024, he came 5th at the World Championships. So he was taking medals away from people. He was taking placings away from people who arguably deserved it while taking loads of steroids. He's been banned for 9 years, which, first of all, I don't know why he isn't banned for life. That's very confusing to me, but I don't know. The IPF is sometimes very confusing. I'm not going to condemn this guy too much. I think it's clear that what he did was wrong. Today, I'm going to condemn the IPF because this is embarrassing for the IPF. Number one reason why it's embarrassing for the IPF. Joe Borenstein, Nonso Chinya, Joshua Ngoka, Matt Vayner, they're all using the Odyssey bench mat. Why? Because it genuinely works to help increase your bench. Basically, what it does is increases the friction between your back and the bench press, allowing you to get more out of your bench press. It allows you to increase your arch if you want it to. It allows you to increase your leg drive without your back slipping because you can really drive and your back is going to stay in the same place. It is just extremely beneficial. All of these big benches are using it now because it just helps. Especially if you're in a commercial gym where the benches are really slippery or you don't use chalk. These are game changer. It's going to help me bench 200 kilograms by the end of 2025. These are insane. If you want to support the channel and you want to increase your bench press, then you can use code Toby on Odyssey mats. Link is in the description as well. Number one reason why it's embarrassing for the IPF. This guy clearly looks like he's on steroids. When I found out that someone had been caught for steroids, without even looking at his picture, I knew that this was the guy they were talking about because when I have seen him at the World Championships previously, he just looks unnatural. Clearly, he looks like he is taking Tren. You don't get traps like that without taking a lot of steroids. You don't get that much muscle naturally. It's impossible. I don't know why he wasn't getting tested day in, day out, looking like that as a supposedly natural lifter. It's just embarrassing for the IPF that they didn't catch someone like this sooner. He managed to compete at 3 World Championships. 3 World Championships while taking Tren and not getting caught. I'm usually someone that likes to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to drug usage in the IPF. But this story is really making me question the drug-free status of people in the IPF. Because if this guy didn't get caught while taking Tren, how do we know that people aren't getting caught when taking smaller dosages of less strong steroids? Now, there are 2 reasons why the IPF wasn't able to catch Mohammed. And the first reason is because they simply didn't drug test this guy. And first of all, that is terrible for the IPF. He was getting medals at IPF Worlds, and if they didn't drug test him, that just is unacceptable. The second reason why he may not have got caught is because the IPF drug test didn't detect all the steroids he was using. That, once again, is so embarrassing for the IPF. If the drug test can't catch Tren, then what are they going to catch? Me personally, if I was a drug tester, I would keep drug testing this guy relentlessly until I caught him for taking something, because it's so clear he's taking something, and he's taking medals away from people. Ultimately, just so embarrassing for the IPF. But this whole situation made me do a deep dive into IPF testing, and let's just say it's not looking good for the IPF for multiple reasons. Let's get into the data. Well, in 2022, 698 people in the IPF got drug tested. And in 2023, 739 people in the IPF got drug tested. Now, you may say, this is wonderful. At least we're increasing the amount of people that got drug tested. Well, no, because obviously the membership base has grown. The amount of people who are competing has grown. So in 2022, 1 in 47 people that competed got drug tested in 2022. In 2023, only 1 in 59 people got drug tested who competed in the IPF that year. And I think that since then, the percentage of people that have been drug tested in the IPF has just got smaller and smaller. This is what I've heard, and this would also follow the trend. So I wouldn't be surprised if 1 in 70, 1 in 80 people right now are being drug tested in the IPF. Firstly, this is embarrassing that the percentage of people that are being drug tested are decreasing, because this federation should be trying to improve over time, not get worse over time. So this isn't great. But second of all, 1 in 59 people got drug tested in 2023. 1 in 59 competitors. That means you basically have maybe a 1.8% chance of being drug tested, at least in 2023. That means if you compete, especially on a regional level, in the IPF, there's literally a 0% chance, basically, that you're going to get drug tested, because most of the drug tests are going to be at a national and international level. So on a regional level, this really shows me that the IPF might as well be an unnatural federation. No one's really getting drug tested, which isn't great. On a national level, I think in some countries, some people are getting drug tested, but I don't know how reliable these drug tests are. Abdullah Muhammad was literally the best in his country by far, the best powerlifter in Libya by far, and somehow he didn't get caught. He would have been the clear person to get drug tested in Libya, and yet he didn't get caught. So on a national level, I don't know if we can really trust national drug tests. On an international level, once again, Abdullah Muhammad didn't get caught taking tren, winning medals at IPF Worlds. We can't trust the drug tests on an international level, on the world stage. 1 in 59 people in 2023 drug tested in the IPF. This is embarrassing. This is why people say it is a drug-tested sport. It's not a drug-free sport. I'm finally understanding, because I tried to be optimistic, but this just isn't great. But let's look at how many people are actually getting caught from these drug tests. Well, a lot of people are getting caught from these drug tests. In 2023, this was the only year where they showed the data of how many people got AAFs, or adverse analytical findings. The number was 48, which means 1 in 15 people that got drug tested in 2023 got caught. 1 in 15 people got caught, which is way too high, especially because I think that most of these drug tests don't detect a lot of drugs. I would guess that there are a lot more people on drugs in the IPF who are getting tested but aren't getting caught. So yeah, overall, this is not a great look for IPF powerlifting. A lot of people who are getting tested are getting caught. Barely anyone is being tested. So we aren't catching this high percentage of people who are taking stuff. Someone can literally come into the sport, go to 3 world championships, place 5th, 4th and 3rd at the World Championships and not get caught while taking one of the most infamous drugs known to man. This isn't great, but I'm going to end off the video with a little bit of optimism, which is, I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid, but I still believe that our very top competitors are not on steroids. At least a lot of these very top competitors. Because I don't want this video to just make everyone lose hope. Why do I think that these top competitors aren't taking stuff? At least a lot of them. Well, it's because the IPF is pretty diligent with testing some of the top lifters. For example, Russell Orhe, despite him looking extremely jacked, Russell Orhe has been tested a lot of times, probably at least 50 times or more by now in his time in the IPF. I doubt that Russell Orhe would be able to get away with taking drugs 50 times. Plus, I think the IPF is pretty diligent with testing their top lifters. For example, at Sheffield, I think all of the lifters were tested at Sheffield. And so these kind of mainstream lifters, I think that they would have to go through a lot of hurdles in order to not get caught. Plus, a lot of these big mainstream lifters, their whole livelihood is based on coaching and doing well in competitions. And so I think that maybe this would be a factor which really makes them not take stuff, because they know that if they get caught, they basically lose their whole livelihood. And so this would be a factor that really stops a lot of people from taking stuff at a top level, because they know they're going to be tested consistently and they know it's not worth the risk. Plus, the other factor is that if we look at the untested side, there are lifters like Colton, lifters like John Hack, which are doing far more crazy numbers than we're seeing in the IPF. And I think this does show that top lifters in the IPF are far below what is possible for a lifter on steroids. And this kind of shows me that there is another level for lifters who are taking stuff. And so my question would be, why aren't these natural lifters getting closer to these untested lifters if they are also untested? Plus, the talent pool in tested powerlifting is getting so big that we are seeing some kids come up like Elliot Sykes, like Jack Reynolds, like William Ball, like Dylan Johnson, like Chase Gravitt, who are just such genetic anomalies that they are going to look like they are on steroids, when in fact, because the talent pool has been smaller, we just haven't seen these anomalies before. So I guess because of those points, I am still optimistic that a good percentage of these big names in powerlifting who are getting tested consistently and their livelihoods depend on the sport, names like Russell Orhe, Austin Perkins, even Jesus Oliveras, I believe these guys are most likely natural. But what this Muhammad story has taught me is that outside this group of people that are being tested consistently, apart from this small subsection, this small group of mainstream powerlifters, I can't really trust any other top lifter in the IPF. Apart from this big group, everyone else isn't being tested consistently, and so there's no reason why they're not taking steroids. That being said though, I would say that Abdullah Muhammad was an anomaly. Very rarely have I seen someone look that jacked at IPF Worlds. So I doubt there's many people like Abdullah who are maybe taking as much as he was taking. But that's basically all I can say. Overall, I think the IPF really needs to start testing a lot more. Durans Kengamu in the Sabado Sessions podcast said that back in the day when people were being tested consistently in the IPF, he took a lot of pride in competing in the IPF because people did believe that IPF powerlifters were natural because a lot of people were being tested. And so it was really cool to compete in the IPF because people knew that even if you were putting up some really big numbers, you were seen as natural. Now that reputation has changed and it is a big shame. I would love the IPF to go back to a point where it is like that. I think the bare minimum is that a lot more people are getting drug tested. In Britain, it seems like no one is getting drug tested, no one at all. But actually, I was looking at the statistics and GB has by far the most drug tests, at least in 2022 and in 2023. And so in some other countries, I think that drug testing is extremely rare. So it's not looking good for the IPF. I want the sport to be drug-free, but we've got a long way to go. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.